The first thing anyone noticed about Viral of the Azure Sovereignty was her confidence. Not the normal kind, no. The woman practically glowed with superiority, as if her presence was a gift the universe hardly deserved. She walked through the Terran Coalition embassy like she owned the place. Long silver hair, crystalline skin patterns that shimmered with light, ceremonial armor polished until the ceiling lamps reflected in it. Behind her marched 6 guards carrying shock spears. Every step said, "Bow. I am above you." But the humans didn't bow. They barely even looked at her. And that irritated her more than she admitted. 1. A diplomat with too much power. As High Envoy of the Azure Sovereignty, Viral could, quite literally, order planetary blockades with a single phrase. Her words carried the weight of a civilization older than humanity by millennia. Among her own kind, nobody dared challenge her. Among humans, well, they were too new, too chaotic, too emotional, too undisciplined. A primitive species playing at civilization. She stepped into the negotiation chamber and froze. There was only one human inside. One. Where were the advisors? The generals? The strategists? The rows of analysts? Surely they didn't believe one Terran was enough to face her. He sat alone at the far end of the long table, lean, broad-shouldered, tired eyes, sleeves rolled up like he'd been working. A coffee mug sat beside him. He didn't stand. Didn't salute. Didn't incline his head. He just looked at her as if she were another appointment he needed to get through before lunch. Viral nearly choked on her own shock. "Where is your diplomatic committee?" she demanded. The man sipped his coffee. "You're looking at it." 2. The man who didn't care who she was. "Name," Viral ordered sharply. He raised an eyebrow. "You walked into my negotiation room and you're asking for my name?" Her crystal markings flickered in irritation. "I am High Envoy Viral of the Azure." "Yeah, I read your file." He leaned back in his chair. "I'm Marcus Hale. Terran Liaison." "Liaison? Not commander? Not governor? Not lead negotiator?" Her mind stumbled. "This is a treaty between 2 galactic powers," she said. "Surely your leader sent someone more appropriate." Marcus shrugged. "They sent the guy who fixes problems." A vague title. Unimpressive. Unclear. Yet something about him was solid. Grounded. Dangerously calm. "Sit," he said, gesturing to the chair. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Her guards glanced at her nervously. To her own surprise, she sat. 3. Her opening gambit. Viral laid out the treaty scroll. A series of demands, border concessions, trade dominance, guaranteed tribute, and restrictions on Terran expansion. It was intentionally lopsided. A power move. She expected resistance, but not much. Humans were predictable, loud, argumentative, easy to provoke. They collapsed under pressure. She pushed the scroll toward him. Marcus didn't even unroll it. He slid it back. "No. No," she repeated, stunned. He sipped his coffee again. "Next." This time she did choke. "You refuse an official treaty from the sovereignty?" "I refuse that one. It was crafted by our High Council." "Terrible job," he said casually. "Tell them to try again." Her markings flared bright blue, an involuntary show of outrage. "You dare insult the council?" "Yes." She stood so fast her chair screeched across the floor. "You disrespect our tradition, our authority, our..." "You walked into a negotiation expecting us to roll over." Marcus finally met her eyes, and the calmness vanished. In its place was steel. "Earth doesn't kneel. Not to you. Not to anyone." Her mouth opened, nothing came out. And for the first time in her life, High Envoy Viral felt uncertain. 4. A lesson in power. She tried again. "You humans are reckless," she said. "You expand too fast. You anger old powers. You think yourselves equals to those who shaped the stars before your species learned to walk." Marcus nodded slowly. "You done?" Her arrogance faltered. "Done?" He stood, placing both hands firmly on the table. Do you know why I'm here instead of a team of diplomats? She blinked. Because I'm the one they send when someone thinks they're untouchable. Her breath caught. Humans aren't stronger than you, he continued, and we aren't older. But we're stubborn. And when someone pushes us, he tapped the table lightly. We push back harder. The room seemed smaller now. His presence filled it in a way her pomp and authority never could. As long as I'm negotiating, he told her, Earth will not surrender territory. Will not pay tribute. Will not accept punishment for your fear of our growth. Our fear, she repeated. If you weren't afraid, he said, you wouldn't have walked in here with demands. Her crystal markings dimmed. He was right. And that scared her. 5. Her mask cracks. Viral exhaled sharply and sat again, this time not in control, but trying to regain control. You misunderstand, she said quietly. The sovereignty only seeks stability. Marcus studied her. Then negotiate like you want stability. Her fingers tightened on the edge of the table. She had not realized until now how much she expected humans to crumble, to panic, to overreact. But this one. He treated her like an equal. No fear. No awe. No deference. A strange feeling settled in her chest. Respect. Reluctant, grudging respect. 6. The point of breaking. Why assign only one man to this negotiation? She asked finally, unable to hide her curiosity. Because, he said, a committee would have played politics. I don't. She frowned. And what do you play, Marcus Hale? Results. She couldn't help it, she smiled, small but real. And if I refuse a more balanced treaty, she asked. Then we walk. You would risk war? He shrugged. You'd never win a war with us. And we'd never win one with you. So we either talk like adults, or waste billions of lives. Her breath froze. The truth of his words hit hard. So simple. So human. So correct. You speak boldly, she whispered. You walked in here acting like a goddess, he said. Someone had to bring you back to ground level. Her cheeks flushed. Azure Sovereignty skin did not blush easily. You put me in my place, she said quietly. I put the negotiation in its place, Marcus corrected. You? I'm still figuring you out. Her markings glowed again, this time with amusement. 7. A new deal. Viral slowly pulled the treaty scroll toward her. She tore it in half. Her guards gasped. Marcus didn't even blink. New terms, she said, pulling out a blank diplomatic sheet. Mutual trade rights. Shared space lanes. Non-aggression pact. Cultural exchange. Now we're getting somewhere, he said. And, she added, lifting her chin slightly, equal respect between our peoples. He extended his hand. She hesitated. Azure Sovereignty customs discouraged unnecessary touch, especially between political rivals. But humans seemed to weigh actions more than symbols. Tentatively, she placed her hand in his. He shook firmly. Deal, Marcus said. But he didn't let go immediately. And she didn't pull away. 8. The envoy who learned something new. When the treaty drafting session finally ended, hours later, Marcus gathered his notes. Viral stood as well, but this time her posture wasn't rigid superiority, it was composed, thoughtful. You know, she said slowly, I believed humans were volatile. Easy to manipulate. We can be, Marcus admitted. But we're also adaptable. And we don't back down. I see that now. She stepped closer. You are a strange species, she said softly. Loud. Emotional. Insufficiently respectful of ancient authority. He grinned. Thanks. It was not a compliment. Still taking it as one. Her crystal markings brightened again, a sign of suppressed laughter among her kind. Marcus Hale, she said, I will report to my council that the Terrans are not to be underestimated. Good, he said. And tell them next time, send someone less arrogant. She smirked. And tell your leaders next time, send more coffee. I may have acquired a taste. He blinked. Wait, you drank some? While you were arguing with your datapad, she said lightly. It was, unexpectedly pleasant. He stared at her. You drank my coffee. You left it unattended. That doesn't mean. But she was already walking away, guards scrambling to fall into formation. At the door she paused, glancing back at him with a spark of mischief. Until next round of negotiations, Terran. Looking forward to it, Sovereign. Her smile, small, sharp, victorious in its own way, shimmered across her features. For the first time, Viral left a negotiation not feeling superior, but feeling alive. And Marcus Hale watched her go, shaking his head. Aliens, he muttered. Then he smiled. Gotta love M.